freedom versus sex work? Because it seems to me that work is something that you're being compensated for. And when you're being compensated for something, usually it's because it's something that you would rather not be doing. Or you would rather be doing something else if you didn't need the money for it. Because you could be spending your time doing leisure. I mean, how many people freaking go out and just freaking clean up some freaking sidewalks or freaking do well, okay, there are some people who do volunteer work, and I can accept that, but generally, you don't see freaking people putting their sexuality out for freaking volunteer work. Well, no, wait a minute, I can think of a few people like that, but, no, wait, I'm losing my point here. Oh, well, yeah, but, well, maybe there is then, I don't know. No, but when you get down to the naughty and nasty, it's to do with friggin' psychology. Okay, the whole premise is that men are hounds and women are friggin', well, no, men are satyrs, women are fawns. They might like to get chased, but they like the attention. Friggin' satyrs like to chase, but they obviously like to friggin' catch. Because for men, sexuality is acceptance through friggin' women accepting them and then being successful. And with women, it's being able to attract the most attractive person. Being the most attractive and therefore getting the best person possible. And that's to do with our biology and stuff. So there's an unofficial hierarchical class status involved with it and stuff. Because you can't tell me that if I got $1,000 and stuff, and I freaking go out to some freaking, I got porn star, Asia Akira, right? And this is the reason why we don't have freaking porn anywhere but freaking, California and New York, is because it's considered a class of prostitution and stuff. Well, okay, so because people are getting paid for it, paid for sex work. Well, okay, now you can't tell me that friggin', if friggin' this girl who's, I see her on the YouTube videos, you can look up Asia Akira, and she just comes across as some friggin' ultra sweet, friggin', Asian American, person who could be a medical student, bright, attractive, smart. Looks like she goes to Cal State, obviously looks intelligent, But I seen her on friggin' YouPorn when she's doing the porn and stuff, and I can't get too much into it because I'm doing a YouTube video, but I mean, she's like, ow, yes, give me that, beep, beep. Oh, I want it all over my beep, beep. Yeah, that's it. Give it to me. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, yeah, daddy. Come on, if there's not something wrong with the frigging idea of having a sex industry, then there's something wrong with the fucking sex industry its fucking self. And I can't believe that problem isn't systemic to human nature and the way friggin' people are and stuff, because they did try to make it a friggin' viable industry when it went from the sexploitation rules in the 60s, the sexploitation grindhouse movies in the 60s and stuff, to where they tried to make it art films in the 70s, because before it became more mainstream because of video and private home use, when the 35mm camera thing fell out in the big before VHS, the format wars. Porn friggin' made the format wars, and VHS won over Betamax because of porn. Because it was more versatile or something, I don't know. But anyway, the point was that, it's all about friggin' the friggin' human nature. And everyone knows that friggin' why hookers carry knives, and friggin' pimps slap around hookers, and friggin' the high-class call girls are just for the ones who friggin' for the friggin' people who friggin' can spend extra money to buy privilege. That, it's not a nice thing, because when you buy a girl, and she consents, and you perform the sexual act and stuff, you're not really, you really are a bought item. You are an objectified thing, because, some guy, what, the girl doesn't have a choice to say no. Freaking if you're just in bed with some girl on a date and stuff, and, and things get crazy or rough or whatever, not too much, but I mean, enough where, it's not a consensual act, it's a contractual act, is the point, And I'm not talking about being violent per se, but I'm talking about emotional welfare and stuff. Maybe some girls get friggin' some kind of friggin' self-validation out of sex work because it's a job, they're proud of the fact that they're making money, but that's like friggin' making money from friggin' movies or being an actor or something. Except it's not even a craft, it's just a performance, like a freak show and stuff. And believe me, I liked watching the freak show, I don't mind watching the freak show. But I've been all kinds around real scenes and stuff where there was really friggin' graph and friggin' violence and all kinds of other things going on and stuff. And that was the majority of the friggin' things in the sex act, I mean, I pulled in hookers and stuff all the time and stuff back when I was friggin' on the wild side. And usually friggin' they friggin' pull out their little friggin' pipe, their friggin' olive pipe, and then they wait for you to nurse, and then you're like, oh yeah, go ahead, and then they get their zing on and stuff, and that's back when I stopped doing that crap and stuff, and then it was like, okay, and then it's freaky freako time, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's all it is friggin', something that they would rather not be doing, but they're doing because they're stuck in a friggin' situation of poverty and deprivation, you know what I mean? And even if they're not, then it's all like friggin', all this friggin', I'd rather have a freaking $10 hooker because at least they're more freaking honest about it than a freaking $1,000 freaking escort, because then it's all freaking pretense, because it's the same damn thing. If it's $1 million madam, it's the same damn thing. It's just buying privilege from the point. It's like the old joke about, okay, we know what you are, it's just we're just haggling over the price now. And it's the same thing with gigolos, and older women and stuff, you know what I mean? It's just like, no one cares about them, they're just there for freaking the illusion of it. And that's all it really is too. And that's just a deprivation of freaking human value, because we're all freaking hierarchical creatures on a value system. Now, when it comes to freaking freedom of freaking sexuality, I'm all for that and stuff. But when it comes to the question of being a contractual instead of a conceptual view of freaking sexuality, I have to wonder how emotionally healthy and freaking validated that is. That's why I always said that freaking sexuality should be mandated to be freaking part of the medical industry, because then it could be a sexual surrogatism, or it could be a freaking artistic motivation, for example, freaking something to do with entertainment and stuff, and that could be more like freaking bringing art into it and stuff, and then that's where porn should be divided between those two, between either freaking helping and health, or like massage, or freaking even to reduce tension and stuff, you know what I mean? But there's a context to it in that contractual obligation, that it's either a entertainment, even if it's freaking just freaking can dancing and shit, or freaking if it's a freaking or if it's a freaking homeopathic, or not homeopathic, but it's freaking helpful for you. It's the freaking sexual surrogatism to freaking help you get over some kind of thing with somebody who can freaking counsel somebody enough to know, and that's not probably the sexual surrogate, but she can be clued, she or he, probably mostly she, because can be clued in by the person who gets the counseling from what I believe should be universal health care, to freaking figure out what the freaking heck is wrong with you, that you're not freaking in a relationship with a normal freaking man and woman. Or, okay, if you want to freaking go and say freaking same-sex thing is normal, that's fine. You're man, your woman thing, or whatever, then, which I don't believe in, but alright, let's not go into that. Anyway, it's fine. That it can all be freaking established and stuff. It can divide either this way or that way, because traditionally it should be freaking just freaking what's done in private between a man and a woman, consensually. A legal adult. What's consensually done in private between a man and woman consensually. And now if that is contractual, I think that if it's done privately, well, maybe something shouldn't be said, because you could have it friggin' as a necessary evil of that being keeping the government out of your bedroom and stuff, which I totally agree with, because I'm a libertarian pretty much, but except when it comes to drugs, because I think that's a different issue and stuff. But because it's a health issue, just like freaking sex is kind of a health issue and stuff, because it's your psychological health, which is innately tied to every human being's psyche and our status and everything else that goes right back to the freaking apes. So you see, the point really is that this doesn't quite jive. Contractual sex doesn't quite jive with free sex being better. I was gonna say decriminalization, but what I really meant was not just decriminalization, but deregulation of sexuality. And like any problem you run into, you will run into problems with deregulation. Economically, I'm against it. Culturally, I'm for it. But even I admit that you will run into ugly circumstances when things are too deregulated culturally, because you will run into a lack of positive rights. And that's what everyone tells me when friggin' all they want is friggin' all these nanny state laws that friggin' tell us that we have to have regulations on our society to protect our civil liberties. Well, how are you going to have friggin' regulations on your civil liberties when you deregulate your sexuality? Which, of course, is what you're advocating. So it has to be not just an idea of progressive. It has to have some ideas that address conservative, because actually conservative and progressive are just two aspects of what is really an aspect of nature in our universe. Things are in decay or decline, or things are in growth or frigging building. Things are either building, changing, or declining. And that's the way the world is. So, when you have a choice between these three, you begin to see that with some freedoms are destructive and some restrictions are positive. There is order and chaos in every bit of the universe, and whether it is declining or ascending, it does matter. And that's just beginning to sound metaphysical, and I don't mean it to, because I don't believe in any metaphysical things. But there is an aspect of nature that humanity can never escape, even humanity's own self-nature, and the laws and rules of the universe that we live in. So, with that in mind, how can you really escape the savage garden when you can't really gauge the issue from a deregulated via decriminalized system. Right? Right. So, what? Why would she do that for $1,000? I mean, there's something that just isn't matching up.